Alright, I'm gonna finish up the rest of what's available. Depending on how long that takes, maybe do something else.
오늘도 부디 정신을 유지할 수 있기를.
위에서 당신을 관리자로 정한 데에는 합당한 이유가 있겠지. 기대하고 있겠습니다, 단테.
가족을 위해 나가서 싸워. 뒤는 내가 봐주지. 괜찮은 공격이네요. 앞으로도 그렇게만 해주세요.
건드렸겠다.
어떤 상황이 닥쳐와도 포기한... 이건 못하겠습니다. 너무 유치하잖아요.
We're seeing poison outside of the mirror dungeon.
고귀하게 나가서 싸워. 뒤는 내가 먹어치워라.
효율적인 대처로 개체를 꿰뚫었습니다. 참고로 기계는 입에 발린 말 따위 쉽게 하지 않아.
우리 식구를 컵을 마실까?
40. 먹지. 이 정도로 나와 공을만.
그래, 그렇게 시원하게 처리하니 보는 맛이 나는군. 일 처리는 빠르게 하는 편이 덜
고귀하게.
답답한 법이지.
합격장.
이런 건 몽둥이가 약이지. 그대로 두드려 패.
따뜻한. 엎드리도록. 내 죄는 내가 알아서 처리한다. 뭐든지 하나씩 줄여가면서 시작하는 거지.
누님도 술병을 하나씩만 비우면 참 좋을 텐데 말이죠.
전부 쳐지게.
나가서 싸워. 뒤는 내가 봐주지. 산초류 경을 오 라샹. 따뜻. 뭐든 다시 돌아와.
I like how Twitch is telling me to sub to my own channel so I can earn drops for Crunchyroll. I don't think people can even sub to me right now.
컵을 마실까? 우리 식구를 건드렸겠다.
이제 끌고 가도 될 것 같아. 빨리빨리 옮기시오.
이 속구를 건드렸겠다.
아차! 핫! 이 정도로 나와 검을 산소류 경혈 온 라샹글. 시원하네! 아, 술맛을 돋궈주는 좋은 공격이었어!
약점을 잘 찌른 것 같네요.
추잡하네.
흙을 마실걸? 목이 비었잖아!
아, 완전 과감한 판단이었어요!
중계하듯이 말하지
승리를
좀
이끌
마시라니까.
그래도 완전 좋은 판단이었던 건 사실이네요.
잘라낸다. 나가서 싸워. 뒤앞. 내 죄는 내가 알아서
전투
처리.
감각 하나만큼은 수감자가 되어도 훌륭하긴 하군. 이제 그
What remained inside the hall after the battle was devastating. Many in the audience seats had fled, as the seats that were once brimming with people were only half filled, and the candidate zone down where here was littered with bodies of candidates who were mauled to death. Meanwhile, the jar monsters, having eaten their fill, had already crawled back into the jar. I looked around and saw some candidates still holding tightly onto the treasures they each had brought to the contest, even as they drew their last breaths. In midst of all this destruction stood the cause of this chaos, watching the slaughter play out with assured confidence.
이렇게 우둔하고 나약해서야 어찌 불로를 얻고 불사를 말할 수 있겠느냐?
How will you attain freedom from aging? How will you argue freedom from death, with mind so dull and body so frail?
어떻습니까?
What say you, judges?
불로 불사의 단서에 더해 거짓을 구한 자들을 없애는 보배까지 가져왔으니 이것이 저의 답입니다.
I present before you not only the clue to immortality, but also a treasure that brings ruin to those who would dare to deceive you. Here is my answer to the perennial question.
그 항아리에 진흙을 구해왔구나.
So, you have brought us the clay of the jar.
살아남지 못한 이들은 가주의 자격을 갖추지 못했다 보는 것이 옳겠죠.
It can be said that those who fail to survive this do not qualify as family hierarch candidates, yes?
솔가반 합격.
Pawn of the Zhu family passes.
자칫하다가 다 죽어버릴 수 있었는데 합격이라니.
He gets to pass when he almost got everyone in here killed?
저들의 기준에는 부합되었던 것일 테죠.
All that matters is that what he brought meets their standards.
겸사겸사 나약한 경쟁자들도 일찌감치 제거해버리고 저자에겐 일석이조였겠군.
Looks like he managed to get two birds with one stone. He eliminated the distracting rabble from the competition.
혹시라도 2차전에서 만나게 되면 몇 대 후려 갈기는 걸로는 안 끝낼 거다.
If we ever run into that bastard in round 2, you better let me take more than a few swings at him.
28번째 참가자 사씨 가문의 대정
28th candidate, Shi Dazen, from the Shi family. But no one walked up to the platform.
모습을 드러내지 않았기에 탈락.
As he has failed to appear, he is eliminated by default. Jia Zhang called a few more names thereafter, but
29번째
29th candidate,
30번째
30th candidate.
언뜻 보기에도 인원이 줄었군.
The number of candidates has clearly been culled, but none appeared.
어떠들 같으니
Disappointingly, MB.
확실히 어중이 떠중이들은 전부 죽은 것 같아요.
Yeah, All the mediocre bunch got wiped out from that attack,
남은 것들도 죄 지쳐 헐떡이는 것들뿐.
and the leftovers are exhausted. Ryoshu looked around as though she was doing some sort of critique.
저 덩치는
That lug.
이런 개새.
이야, 어디다가 흘렸는가 했더만 이런 데서 늦자고 없이 나타났지?
Oh, B, I thought you'd gone and vanished into the earth. What the hell are you doing crawling around out here?
야, 눈 마주쳤잖아. 인사라도 오자.
Girl, I saw you giving me the evil eye. At least have the decency to say aye, eh? Is he Canadian? Ryoshu, that guy's talking to you, right? And in the very, very rare display of raw emotion, I realized that she was anxious and furious.
알던 분이세요?
Oh, do you know him?
뭔 떡뜨거 키가 2m는 되겠는데?
What an absolute unit. Bloke's got to be at least 2 meters tall.
저자를 바라보지 마세요, 단테. 그리고 여러분들도.
Do not look at that man, Dante. And everyone, avert your eyes as well.
아무 말씀도 하지 마시기를 권고합니다.
It is strongly recommended that we do not say a word to him.
그러지. 나한테 말 걸라면 너희들이 급이 되는지는 한번 생각해보고 씹으려야 할 것 아니냐?
That's right, you shrimps. You gotta first rack them teensy brains of yours. Gotta think real hard about whether you even come close to my rank before running your mouths, you hear?
저 새끼. 손가락이다. 내횡.
That shithead. Lei Hing. He's a finger.
엄지는 손가락 중 상명하복의 제일 엄격한 조직입니다.
The thumb is a syndicate with the strictest adherence to rigid hierarchy structure even among the fingers.
그리고 저자는 엄지의 카포 중에서도 제일 높은 언더보스 직전의 직급.
And his placement in the hierarchy is the highest even among their capos. His rank is immediately beneath the position of the Soto Capo, or underboss.
자그마한 실수가 큰 싸움으로 번질 수 있으니 전부 조용히 해주실 것을 명령해주세요, 단테.
A small mistake could drag us into battle we do not want to fight. Please order everyone not to say a word, Dante. I don't know what's going on, but I get it. You're saying that we're this close to having another Ricardo hunting us down, right? Yeah, let's avoid that. Do as fast asks, everyone. Lei Heng began stomping his way through the crowd towards us, casually but forcefully shoving anyone in his way to the sides. His gait was blithe and brutish, but I noticed that his eyes were fixed intently on Ryoshu. It seemed that among the crowd were some people in higher positions as well, but even they either averted their eyes or voluntarily got out of his way. He marched confidently through the frozen crowd as though he was familiar with this kind of reception, until a cry rang out from the crowd.
에바, 너 지금 어느 안전이라고 남궁현아 도련님의 자리까지 와서 시야를 막는 거냐? 이 자리는 장차 4대 가문이 될 우리 남궁.
You there, you big brute! How dare you block young Master Nonglong Ji in his view? I'll have you know that you stand before the retinue of the Nonglong family, the house that shall soon be one of the 4 houses. Instead of a reply, we heard a blast of gunpowder, then saw the right arm of the man who spoke out catapult into the air. The scream muffled as Lei Hung forcibly shoved his giant hand down the man's throat. Then, with the sound of wet meat being pulled apart, he ripped the entire length of the man's tongue out through the mouth.
남궁현아 도련님, 아그들 입단속 못했으니까 오른팔 하나는 내놔야지.
Young Master Nanglong Ji, ain't ya? You owe me an arm now. Mighty sorry, but you should have kept a tighter leash on your boy's John. The young master of some prestigious house presented his right hand, though it was clear that he was utterly terrified. Lai Hung proceeded to grab his hand and break it off his forearm like snapping a twig.
반가운 낯짝 봐서 기준 좀 널널하게 잡아준 것인께 허튼 짓 말고 조심해라.
I went easy on you, boy. Seeing a friendly face has put me in a good mood.
거미적은 그립겠어. 하긴 그리울 리가 있겠어. 나도 갈 때마다 기분이 거시기하더만.
Anywho, I don't reckon you missed a spider's house. Can't imagine why anybody would. Gives me the heebie-jeebies too, whenever I gotta swing by.
나중에 얼굴 좀 보자. 그때처럼 한 번 더 칼 쥐는 법 좀 제대로 가르쳐줄란께.
We got some catching up to do later. I'll teach you how to hold your sword real good, right like back when.
아야, 그래도 그중엔 내가 제일 만나게 쓰는 법을 가르쳐줬잖아.
Weren't mine the best out of them all? I taught you how to make every cut real effing delicious.
류슈 씨, 아직 때가 아닙니다.
Ryoshu, now is not yet the time. Faust whispered to Ryoshu in a low voice without raising her head.
닥쳐봐.
Shut up for a damn second.
입사 전의 약속을 아직 기억하시리라. 파우스트는 믿습니다.
Faust trusts that you still remember the promise made prior to your employment.
어깨에 힘 좀 빼라. 네 데리러 온 것도 아니고 그때처럼 뭘 가르쳐주려고 온 것도 아닌께.
Get that stick out of your behind, kiddo. I ain't here to pick you up. I sure as hell ain't trying to teach you a lesson either, like back when.
그 새끼 아직 그 집에 있잖아.
Your baby's still at that house, ain't that right? Ryoshu was grabbing the hilt of her sword like she was about to unsheath it. The same sword she refused to unsheath for the duration of our entire journey.
아닌가? 이제 어떤가? 글쎄 뭔 일이 있었디야? 나가 그 사정은 잘 몰라서 말이지. 뭐 그래도 뭔 일이 있긴 했는갑네.
Huh? Am I wrong about that? Just what in tarnation happened then? I ain't exactly nose deep in them fellers' business. You gotta understand. Guess something sure as hell went down though, didn't it?
이야, 겁나 재미지다. 근데 니 진짜 그 검 뺄라고?
Now ain't that something? So you're really fixing to unsheath that blade?
류슈 씨,
Miss Ryoshu. In a quiet but coldly stern voice, Faust calls Ryoshu's name. Ryoshu. I assume this is gonna keep going.
아따 웃자스까이. 언더보스시면 안 받을라 그래도 안 받을 수가 없겠네.
Aw, dang it. What in the gosh dang. My bad, y'all. I really gotta take this. It's the underboss calling. Y'all gotta understand.
다음에 네가 애비들 얘기나 거시기 해보자고. 요시다.
Alright then. I'll meet you later. We can talk about your daddies or shoot some other shit then. See you around, Yoshihide. The strange man turns around and stomps his way through the crowd again, his booming voice reverberating across the entire hall as he loudly and boisterously answers the call. I need that as my ringtone. He's gotta be here for the family hierarch war, right?
누가 가주가 되느냐에 따라 당분간의 H사 방향이 결정되니 다양한 자들의 이권이 보이지 않는 곳에서부터 눈앞에까지 펼쳐질 테죠.
The outcome of the family hierarchy evaluation determines the immediately foreseeable future of H Corp, which brings parties of varying, possibly clashing interests here.
그래도 히스클리프 씨 이번에는 잘 참아줬네요. 중지 때처럼 사고 치면 어쩔까 걱정했는데.
Hey, Heathcliff. Notice you didn't rush ahead this time. I was worried it was going to be like the time with the middle.
엄지는 나도 조직 생활 때 몇 번 얽혀봐서 알아. 그리고 중지 거는 나도 진짜 몰랐던 거고. 그리고 저 자식 아마
I know a thing or two about the thumb back from my syndicate days, and about what happened with the middle. Like I said, I had no bloody idea who those things belonged to. Besides, that sod
우리가 마주쳤던 리카르도보다도 강하고 위협적인 강자로 판단된다.
is more powerful and violent than Ricardo, an individual we had encountered in the past.
엄지는 엄지대로 어마무시하구려. 중지와는 다른 흉악한 폭력성.
The thumb commands its own manner of terror and violence, unlike that of the middle. As we were all sharing our impressions of Lei Hung, I found Ryoshu frozen in place, in the same position she had been in when Lei Hung walked past her, spacing out.
소지까지인가?
All the way to the pinky. Huh. Ryoshu muttered something to herself as even further chaos was about to overtake the crowd and the candidates.
32번째 참가자 가치우.
32nd candidate, Jia Q. Jia Jing called up the next candidate. And at the mere mention of the name, the chaos that had swallowed the hall immediately settled into a hushed silence. Jia Q walked up to the platform, unaccompanied by his own faction, but not alone. Who are those people next to Jia Q?
저는 초면이네요.
I've never met them before.
아, 그렇다면 저분이 가치우 형님이 찾은 블로불사의 답인가 보네요.
Oh, then that must mean their big brother Jia Q's answer to immortality.
대체 어떤 사람들이길래?
Who could they possibly be?
전투적으로 그렇게 뛰어난 자들 같지는 않아 보이건만.
Neither of them appear to be particularly skilled in combat.
오히려 불안한 듯이 연신 두리번거리시네요.
Yeah, they're both constantly looking around like they're nervous.
저자는
They are.
도서관의 생존자라고 파우스트는 생각합니다.
Faust believes that they are survivors of the library. Survivors? Library? Ruina?
피할 수 없었던 어떤 불가항력에서
The only ones who survived the impossible, inevitable odds, and the insurmountable force.
유일하게 살아남아 그것을 설명할 수 있게 된 자일 수도요.
They're the only survivors who may be able to explain that very force. Possibly.
1차 심사 참가자
Candidate Q of the Jia family. Jia Q didn't spend much time behind the curtains. He walked out soon after, his steely expression unchanged from when he entered it.
증언을 들어보니 확실하구나. 도시의 별을 넘어 결국 사라져버린 그곳에서 살아나온 네가 맞다.
The testimony rings true. They are both survivors of the place that soared beyond the star of the city before it vanished.
당시 초대장을 구하지 못한 것이 이제 와서 아쉬운 일로 남게 되었군요.
It is a shame that we were unable to procure ourselves an invitation then. He passes. Jia Q's expression did not budge.
긴장이라는 걸 하긴 했을까?
Anxiety's got to be a foreign concept to that guy.
그럼 남은 참가자는 더 이상 없나?
Then that covers all the candidates, it
이
seems.
자리에 와주신 4대 가문 모두에게
With the first round complete to all families who have graced this hall.
잠깐만요.
Excuse me. Unlike Jia Hu, whose appearance plunged the hall into utter stillness, Honglu's sudden interjection roused the room to a roaring chaos of confusion once again. Baiyu, what?
아직 마지막 참가자가 남은 것 같아서요.
I think you might have missed a candidate.
그게 무슨 말이냐? 심사에 나서는 자들의 내역은 이것으로.
What do you mean? I believe we have covered every candidate present in the list.
제가 남았거든요.
You missed me.
가시 가문의 보호기 가주 심사에 참가합니다.
Jia Bao of the Jia family will partake in the family hierarchy evaluations.
다들 고생했다. 부조장한텐 내가 말해둘 테니까 뒤처리 끝나면 뜨끈하게 목욕탕에
Forgot there
가서
was a
몸부터
fight in that.
씻자고.
저거 가보호가 아니야?
Isn't that Jia Bao?
저게 왜 이런 자리에? 아니, 그보다 뭘 참가한다고?
What's that doing here? And what did he just say?
예상은 하고 있었지만 엄청나게 시선을 끌고 있네요.
I had a feeling this was going to happen, but we really kicked the hornet's nest, huh?
자, 우러러 보시게. 마지막 용사들이 이곳에 당도하였으니.
Hark, one and all, and gaze upon our glory. In the 11th hour doth the final band of heroes arrives. I feel it.
이상 씨, 왜 다른 일에 뭉쳐가고 있어? 이렇게 된 거 그냥 손이라도 흔들어.
Isang, don't pretend you're not with us, huh? At least give the audience a wave. Guys, I don't think they're taking the announcement too well.
대부분이 당혹감 속에 턱을 일정 이상 벌리고 있거나 분노와 심려가 가득한 얼굴로 소리를 지르고 있다.
A large portion of the audience is vociferously expressing their collective confusion, wrath, and concern. These emotions are expressed by their jaws that have been opened past a certain degree. As Mersalt observed, I realized that the chaos wasn't restricted to the audiences. The candidates were starting to get agitated too.
저런 놈이지. 겉으로는 실실 웃다가 쥐도 새도 모르게 주변을 멸해버리는 그 더러운 성정.
And there he is, the disgusting, duplicitous bastard who brings annihilation to everyone around him with that silly, innocent smile.
어떻게 된 거야? 보호기는 가주대전 참가 안 하는 거 아니었어?
Huh? What's going on? I thought Bai wasn't participating in the hierarchy.
결국 저 멍청이가.
That dumbass.
분.
SYNC.
너 뭐 하는 거지?
Explain yourself now.
아까 가만에서 소드 씨가 요슈 씨가 그 말하면 제 목숨을 걸고 칼을 붙들고 있으라 했어요.
Miss Saw told me to grab onto your sword like my life depended on it if you said that exact phrase.
아이씨, 그냥
Blimey, can't we just...
히스클리프 씨도요. 그냥 싹 다 패버리자 같은 말을 하면.
She mentioned you too, Heathcliff. She told me that if you ever said anything like, can't we just give him a good beating and be done with it?
이런 광경은 오랜만이네요.
What a throwback.
정숙하시오.
Decorum. I demand decorum.
네 몸에 생책이라도 나면 어쩌려는 게냐?
I hope you do not mean to risk having your body marred.
지금이라도 물어거라. 어서.
Withdraw your name. It isn't too late. Now.
가볼게요, 아버지.
I'm heading in, Father.
33번째 참가자 가시 가문의 오
33rd candidate, Bayu of the Jia family.
앞으로.
Come forth.
단테님, 준비되셨죠?
Ready, Dante? I don't know.
그리고
And
로슈 씨도요?
what about you, Ryoshu?
뭐든지 썰고 싶다.
I'm itching to get chopping.
기분이 굉장히 더럽거든.
Need to vent this shitty feeling.
파우스트 씨 진짜 괜찮겠죠?
Are you sure they're gonna be okay, boss?
괜찮은 것이 아니라 하더라도 해야 하는 것은 해야 하는 것입니다.
This is something that must be done regardless of the soundness of its participants. Voss spoke sternly.
나는 여전히 이 계획이 그리 마음에 들지 않소.
I still quite detest this plan.
사실 누구도 이 계획을 두 팔 벌려 환영하는 사람은 없어요.
Let's be honest for a sec. Are any of us actually happy to go through with this?
아니, 대부분은.
Okay, I guess there's the one. Honglu, Ryoshu, and I walked up to the platform. Up close it was much larger, grander, and more imposing than I thought it'd be.
선을 넘어서 들어오거라.
Entered the fabric threshold. Once we walked past the curtains as instructed, we saw Jia Yuanchun, Jia Mu, and Jia Zhang waiting for us inside.
출가의 생에서 어떠한 심정의 변화가 있었는진 모르겠으나
I know not what in your life beyond the hedges could have wrought this change of heart,
네가 가주에 도전하는 진귀한 광경을 보게 될 줄이야.
but to see you aspired as to the seat of the hierarch is indeed a sight most curious.
오랜만이에요, 누님.
It's been a while, big sister.
큐사에서의 생활은 무사 평안하셨나요?
Has the life in Q Corp been treating you well?
많은 것을 보고 배웠지.
I have seen and learned much,
네가 그랬을 것처럼 보가.
as you must have, Bayu.
이곳에 발걸음을 한 연유가 이것이었느냐?
Now I see your true reason for returning home today.
죄송해요, 할머님. 세간에 밝히지 않는 편이 좋을 것 같았어요.
I'm sorry, grandmother. I thought it better than to let this be common knowledge.
그렇느냐?
So you did.
의사를 밝힌 이상 물러날 곳은 없겠지.
Now that you have revealed your intent, withdrawal is no longer an option.
그래, 네가 가지고 온 답은 무엇이더냐?
Very well. Now present the answer that you have brought here today.
정말 많은 분들이 이 자리에 서서 각자가 찾은 것에 대해 알려주려 했을 거라고 생각해요.
I'm sure you've already sat through many people standing in the same place I am now, explaining to you what it is that they'd brought.
그러니 번잡스럽게 천마디의 말보다는 눈앞에서 보여드리는 편이 여러모로 좋으실 테죠.
So, I suppose you would much prefer that I give you a straightforward visual demonstration than make you sit through another 1,000-word lecture. Honglu gave Ryoshu a nod.
네, 괜찮아요.
Yes, I'm okay.
저희가 그들에게 보여줄 수 있는 답은
Our answer that may be able to demonstrate before them
단테 씨의 힘으로 언제든 살아날 수 있는 생, 그 자체입니다.
is resurrection by Dante's power to show them that to us, death is but a temporary setback.
그리고 그걸 제일 극적으로 보여주기 위해서는
And a most dramatic demonstration of that ability would be to
그래. 이건 인정해야겠네.
Indeed, you have certainly demonstrated something.
지금까지 나온 참가자 중에서 제일 지루하지 않았다, 보우가.
You are truly the least dreary part of today, Bayu.
아, 그렇다면 제가 눈앞에서 목숨을 잃는 편이 제일 효과적이겠네요?
Aha, I see. So the most effective way to do it would be for me to get killed in front of them.
그것도 아주 확실하게요.
Without any room for ambiguity, that.
그렇습니다.
Yes.
그럼
Then
저희 중 한 명이 홍루 씨를 그 목숨을 잃게끔 만들어야 한다는 건가요?
does that mean one of us has to make sure that Honglu no longer lives?
야, 허감이 뭐 그리 거창해.
Oi, no need to beat round the bush.
우리 처음 만났을 때 기억 안 나냐?
Remember what we did to each other when we first met?
그렇다면 히스클리프 군은
Then, Heathcliff, is the implication that you
홍루군을 아무렇지 않게 살해할 수 있다는 것인가?
are still willing to murder Hong Wu without hesitation?
살해. 야, 또 뭐 말을 그렇게?
Murder? Mate, did you really have to put it like...
더 이상 악인들이 아닌 동료들을 해치는 건 싫네.
Verily, I do not wish to hurt my companions more than I already have.
다행이라 해야 할지 모르겠지만
It may be a stretch to say that it is fortunate. However,
저희 중에서 고통 없고 신속하면서 동시에
among
아무런
us,
가책이 없이 이 작전을 도와주실 분이 계시는 듯하군요.
we seem to have an individual among us who may be able to carry out the task in most painless, swift, and unburdened manner. And everyone immediately turned to look at...
그래서 어떤 모양으로 베면 되지?
So, how would you like to be cut?
내횡, 그 새끼 어디부터 먹었지?
Where's that effer, Lei Hong? Who's he working with? It seemed that slicing Hong Lu in half did nothing to distract Ryoshi from her own thoughts. Jiamu watched us in silence, motionless in her seat.
뇌까지 절단했군.
You have split his brain in
이
half.
아이는 이제 생명보험으로도 되살아나지 못할 것이다.
You have irreversibly ended this child's life. Not even life insurance shall be able to bring him back now. Bayu?
자, 이제 어떻게 나올 테냐?
Well then, what will you do now?
뭘 하더라도 본래의 옥으로 돌아오진 못할 터. 가문의 보석을 망가뜨린 죄값은
You have no means to restore this jade of the family. For your transgressions, you will...
시계 돌려.
Clock. Spin it. And so it turned in one of the most high-intensity situations I'd ever turned in. The muscle fibers, the nerves, the flesh that was split all began to reconnect like a rewinding videotape. Huh? Wait, why doesn't this hurt at all? Ryoshi's skill with the sword was no joke. I didn't even feel the slightest bit of discomfort. I doubt Hong Lu even realized that he was dying.
우리 보기가 못 본 사이에
Bayu, I truly realize it has been a while since we've met.
담대해진 게 분명하구나.
He has grown quite bold.
짐승 냄새.
I smell beasts. Dark shadows had appeared outside the curtains surrounding us before I even realized what was happening.
소, 닭, 용, 원숭이, 흑수군.
Bull, rooster, dragon, monkey, the high show are here.
불로불사의 해답을 찾아오라 하였지.
The task was to find the answer of freedom from aging and death,
경기를 무시하고 난장을 피우라 한 것은 아니었는데
not to break a taboo and participate in the destruction of our home.
이전에 H사를 이끌던 그 가문이 멸문한 지 그리 오래되지도 않았다. 조율자와 발톱이 다시 이 홍원에서 가문을 도륙내게 하는 것은 용납될 수 없는.
It has not been long since the family that once led H-Corp was brought to ruin. No arbiter nor claw shall ravage a family of Hongyang again. Jia Yushan appeared ready to command the High Shou to kill us all, but Jia Mu silenced her with the wave of her hand.
기다리거라.
You will wait.
가문님,
Venerable Jia Mu,
부활이 끝나면 틀림없이 머리가.
once the resurrection is complete, the head will.
그러니 그 전에 끝내야.
We must end this before they...
일각만 기다리거라.
Hold for one moment.
판단이 섣부르면 반드시 놓치는 것이 있기 마련.
To be rash in judgment is to judge incompletely.
나는 우리의 보물과 불로불사의 탄석 두 가지 모두 놓치고 싶지 않구나.
I wish not to lose either our treasure and a clue to immortality. And Honglu was whole again.
아, 감사해요, 루시님. 정말 아무런 아픔도 느껴지지 않았어요. 그리고 단테님도요.
Thank you, Ryoshu. It really didn't hurt at all. And you too, Dante.
별 말.
And P.
할머니, 그리고 원춘 누님.
Grandmother. Big sister Yeonchun.
보셨죠? 이게 제가 찾은 불로불사의 방법이랍니다.
Did you see that? This is the immortality I found.
오지 않는 건가?
Are we safe?
부시불보. 시후미도.
If aught be owed, a swift vengeance shall arrive in time. It is simply yet to return. Jiamu's quiet utterance seems to dissipate the forces that had surrounded us outside the curtains.
가주심사 1차 참가자 가복.
Jia Bayu, in the first round of the family hierarchy evaluations,
합격이란다.
you pass.
가시복 합격.
Bayu of the Jia family passes.
무슨 술수를 쓴 거지?
What trickery is this?
분명 홍원을 떠나 한량 같은 여행이나 다닌다 들었는데 그 사이 무슨 묘수를 가져온 거야?
I thought he was off on some sightseeing tour away from Hongyong like a jobless rich kid. When he even managed to find his own answer.
1차 심사 종료.
Thus ends the first round.
합격자들은 곧바로 내일 열릴 2차 심사를 준비하라.
Those who pass must prepare for the second round, set to commence tomorrow.
2차 심사와의 간극 간 후보자끼리 서로 위해를 가하는 것은 금지되어 있다.
Remember, the candidates are barred from harming one another between now and the commencement of the second round of evaluations.
이것은 유일한 규칙으로 위반한 후보자는 즉시 탈락된다는 점 양지하길 바란다.
This is your one and only rule, thus remember it well. Anyone who dare break it shall immediately be disqualified.
이상.
That is all. As soon as Jia Zhang announced the end of the first round, everyone in the audience seats began rushing towards the first floor. Getting mixed up with that crowd's probably not a great idea. Let's get out of here.
네, 저희는 곧바로 홍로 씨의 방으로 이동하도록 하죠.
Indeed. Let us immediately return to Honglu's room. And we decided to slip out of here before the curious crowd swept us away. However, as we turned around to leave, stood Jiaku in our path.
아, 치우 형님이시군요. 1차 대전에 합격한 걸 축하드려요.
Oh, Big Brother Chu. Congratulations on passing the first round.
도련님도 합격하셨다죠? 축하드려요.
I hear that you have passed as well, young master. Congratulations are in order, it seems.
평생토록 가주 자리에는 일말의 관심조차 보이지 않으셨던 도련님이
How is it that you, young master, who has not shown an inkling of ambition towards the seat of the hierarchy,
어쩐 일로 이렇게 주목을 한몸에 받으며 가주대전에 나오셨을지.
suddenly emerge as one of the candidates positively stealing the show?
뭐 갑자기 욕심이 날 수도 있는 거 아니겠어?
Well, you know, sometimes people get swept up by random surges of ambition.
욕심을 낸 건 도련님이 아니라 그대들의 회사가 아닐런지.
Isn't that surge of ambition your company's, not young Master Bio's? Well, if our last meeting didn't confirm it, it sure seems like they know us well.
테두리 안에 있자 하였건을 벌써 가생이에서 난장을 피우다니.
Have we not impressed upon you that you were to nicely remain within the borders? Instead, he sparked such disorder at the fringes of his perimeter.
가시춘의 뜻에 휘둘리는 걸로 상황이 끝날 것이라 여겼는데.
I had thought that his only role in this design would be to be played as a pawn by Ji Chun. No more.
죽은 도련님을 너무 과대평가한 게 아니신지요?
My lord, perhaps you have overestimated this young master.
아직도 너는 아무것도 하지 않으면 아무 일도 일어나지 않을 거라 믿는 것이냐?
Are you still of the belief that inaction is a path without consequences?
전에 인사도 제대로 못 드렸네요, 치우 형님.
I didn't even get to say hello to you earlier, Brother Chu.
가시 가문의 보옥, 정식으로 인사드립니다.
Bao of the Jia family formally extends his greetings to you.
성인이 된 이후론 정식으로 얼굴을 맞대고 인사드리는 게 처음이네요.
I realize that this is the first time we're meeting face to face since I reached adulthood.
그나저나 이화 형님과 경도 씨의 머리는 원래대로 잘 붙여주었나요?
Speaking of which, did you manage to stitch Big Brother Yua and Mr. Jingtao's heads back onto their bodies?
Huh?
Heathcliff was the first to let out a flabbergasted gasp before the other sinners followed suit.
홍원의 형제자매끼리는 항상 저런 식으로 인사를 주고받는 게 일상인가 보죠?
I guess that's just how siblings of Hongyeon greet each other, huh?
보차 씨가 유별나게 상냥한 타입이었나 봐.
Seems like Miss Bao Shai was just a particularly nice exception.
탓할 이유가 없는 물음을 던지는가?
You ask that question that deserves no answer.
일말의 준비도 없이 제 차례가 왔다며 맨몸으로 불길에 뛰어들었나?
You have arrived here, unprepared, yet ready to cast yourself into the flames. All for the mere reason that your turn had come.
여전히 같은 생각이라면 지금까지 그랬던 것처럼 눈에 띄지 않고 조용히 있는 것이 옳았을 텐데.
If your mind hasn't changed, then it would have been wise to remain unseen and unnoticed as you were.
네, 걱정해 주셔서 감사해요.
Yes, thank you for your concern.
관조를 흉내내는 말버릇은
This facade of wisdom and pensiveness worn upon your speech
도통 고치질 못하나 보구나.
is truly intractable.
제가 그랬나요?
Do I do that? Noticing Jia Chu's hand tighten around his weapon, Ishmael quickly jumped in.
아, 1차 심사 통과한 후보자끼리 죽이면 안 된다던 규칙. 저만 기억하는 건 아니죠?
Oh, in case you forgot, there's a rule preventing candidates who passed the first round from killing each other. Hopefully I'm not the only one who remembers that.
계속 위협적으로 나오신다면 저희도 다음 수단을 쓸 수밖에 없다는 점을 알아주시면 좋겠는데요.
If you're going to continue bully us, don't be surprised if there are consequences.
오티스 씨, 준비는 끝내둔 거죠?
Otis, you finished the preparations, right?
지원군들은 지금 건물 앞까지 도착한 상태다.
The reinforcements are standing by the front gate at the front gates.
우리한테 지원군이 있어.
Huh? What reinforcements?
그래서 섣불리 행동하는 것은 2차 선발을 두고 쓸데없는 무력전이 벌어질 수도 있다는 거지.
Which is why I am warning you that taking any rash action as weird prior to the start of the second round could result in a pointless skirmish for both of us.
허장성세로구나. 애당초 무력은 처음부터 내세울 도리가 아니라 생각한다마는.
A loud boast from an illusory army in an empty fortress, though I believe that sheer might is hardly the quality one should flaunt.
여기서 너희와 겨룰 생각은 없다.
I am not intent on fighting you here.
제 그릇에 맞지 않은 것을 담으려 하면 큰 화를 피하지 못할 것이다.
Jia Bao, you will beget great suffering by endeavoring to embrace beyond your abilities.
그러나 부딪혀 깨어주고 싶다면 그 또한 술리며 섭리일 테죠.
Yet, if he still wishes to challenge and be broken, then perhaps that outcome is simply meant to be. And with that, they turned around and left us. It seemed that they were here only to give us a warning.
조마조마했어요. 가치우 씨랑 그 흑수들이랑 맞붙게 되면.
What a relief. I thought we'd have to fight GIQ and his Haishao pack.
눈치챈 것 같긴 하지만 합은 좋았네요, 오티스 씨.
They did see right through us in the end, but hey, nice teamwork, Otis.
무례하게 짝이 없는 놈들이었다.
What unbelievable impudence.
말하는 내내 우리는 쳐다도 보지 않더군.
Did you notice how they did not even glance at the rest of us through that entire exchange? Zhu Baoshai peeked out from a pillar before walking up to Honglu.
1차 심사 합격한 거 축하해, 보호가. 정말 어떻게 된 일이야? 네가 가주대전에 나올 줄은 꿈에도 몰랐는데.
You passed the first round. I'm so happy for you, Bayu. Seriously, what's going on here? I didn't imagine even in my wildest dreams that you'd be participating in the family hierarchy war.
보차 누나도 1차 심사에서 합격한 걸 축하해.
Congrats to you too, big sister Baochai, for passing the first round.
나한테 숨겼을 정도면 모두에게 알려지지 않길 바랐던 거지?
Gathering from the fact that you hid it even from me, you really didn't want anyone to know, right?
맞아. 아마 나 때문에 다들 시끌벅적해졌을 것 같네.
Yeah, I imagine that must have kicked up quite the ruckus with everyone.
괜히 미안해지는구만. 본의 아니게 속인 셈이 되어버렸어.
Now I'm starting to feel kind of bad about this. Somehow we ended up lying to everyone.
뭐 어때요? 뻔뻔해지자고요.
Hey, don't beat yourself up over it. Own it instead.
이렇게 된 거 네가 가주대전에 나가게 된 걸 다행으로 여기려고.
Well, if it's all the same to you, then I want to say I'm so happy you decided to take part.
왜냐하면 내가 가주대전에 나간 사이에 네가 또다시 대관원을 떠날지도 모른다고 생각했거든. 그렇게 되면 너무 섭섭하잖아.
I was worried that you might have already left Dangyeon so far away from me again by the time I was finished with the family hierarchy war. That would have been too bad.
그러니 가주대전에서라도 계속 볼 수 있게 되어서 다행이야.
So, I'm glad that we'll get to spend more time together, even as contestants.
마주치게 되면 누구보다 반갑게 인사해주기야.
Don't forget to say hello and give me a wave if we ever run into each other, okay? Zhu Baochai left us to rejoin her faction, waving sweetly as she did so.
돌아오셨습니까, 도련님?
You have returned, young master.
좋은 밤이야, 스핀.
Yep. Good evening, Zyron. Zyron bowed wordlessly in that same detached coldness we sensed earlier. She did not seem at all excited about her master's success today, nor did she appear to be concerned about him.
도련님께 서신 하나가 도착했습니다.
A letter has arrived for you, young Master Bayu.
너무도 확연하게 봉투에 인장이 뜯겨 있다고 생각하지 않나요?
You didn't even try to hide the fact that the envelope was tampered with, did you?
전달하는 것까지가 저의 일일 뿐.
My responsibility was to deliver the letter.
온전한 형태로 지켜야 한다는 건 제 소임이 아닙니다.
To protect its integrity was not one of my obligations.
씨, 이분 당신의 시종 맞나요?
Honglu, are you sure she's your maidservant?
괜찮아요.
It's okay.
틀린 말은 아닌걸요?
She's not wrong.
수빈, 일로 와봐. 가령이랑 비석치기를 하기로 했었는데 왜 계속 보이지 않아?
Jiren, can I ask you something? Jieling promised to play rock tossing game with me, but I can't find him anywhere.
아, 그게 말이죠.
That's
그러니까요, 도련님. 지난번에 숫자를 어디까지 외우셨죠?
Well, let's see. How many numbers have you learned so far, young master?
그때 나랑 수빈이랑 열이라는 숫자까지 배웠지.
Jiren, I learned up to 10.
그러면 100밤까지만 자고 나면 돌아오실 거예요. 100이라는 건 10밤 보내는 걸 10번 반복하면 되는 거랍니다.
Then he'll be back after 100 nights sleeps. Sleep 10 nights 10 times, and then that's 100 nights.
와, 그렇구나. 스비는 엄청 똑똑하네.
Whoa, that's so cool, Jiren. You're so smart.
자라나면 다 자연스럽게 배우는 것이니까요.
It's nothing. It's something we all learned growing up.
스빈, 10밤을 10번 넘게 보냈는데 가령은 여전히 코빼기도 보이지가 않아.
Jiren, I slept 10 times 10 nights, but I still don't know where Jialing's gone.
제가 가령 도련님이 돌아온다고 했었던가요?
Did I say that young Master Jialing was to return?
100밤까지만 자고 나면 다시 돌아온다고 했어.
You said he'll be back after 100 nights.
100밤 가지고서는 택도 없어요, 도련님.
100 nights is hardly enough, young master.
1000밤은 지나야 할 거려.
It will take at least 1,000 nights,
꼴을 당했는데.
given what they did to him.
그렇구나.
I see.
스비는 역시 언제나 똑똑하네.
You're smart as always, Jiren.
가령 도련님은 수년이 지났지만 여전히 몸이 썩어 들어가고 있대요, 도련님.
Young master, it's been years, but young master Jialing's body is still decaying.
지금은 몸의 절반이 넘는 부위를 쓸 수 없대요.
He has lost control over half his body.
저번에 내가 시킨 대로 환약을 주었는데도 그러니?
Even after he was fed the boluses I sent him?
도련님이 주신 환약은 아무짝에도 쓸모가 없었대요.
I was told to relay that your boluses were useless, young master.
뇌까지 같이 썩은 거라 원래대로 회복될 일은 거의 없다고 다른 식솔들이 말하는 걸 들었거든요.
The decay reached his brain, and I overheard the other servants gossip that it is impossible to recover from such a wound.
몸이 전혀 제 기능을 하지 못하는 거예요. 죽는 게 나을 정도죠.
The body is functionally dead. Death would be preferable, in fact.
그러니까 이제 헛된 기대는 하지 마세요.
So give up your naive hope and forget about him.
스비는 언제나 똑똑하네.
You're always so smart, Jiren.
관리자님, 그럼 편지를 읽겠습니다.
I will now read the letter, Executive Manager. Right, yeah. As I stood there pondering, Otis walked up to me, up to the front with the letter in hand.
소드 과장이로군.
This is from Manager Sod.
여러분, 1차 대전을 합격했다는 소식은 들었어요.
Hello everyone, heard you managed to pass the first round.
사실은 그 전부터 미리 쓴 편지랍니다. 합격하지 못했으면 이 편지를 받지도 못했을 테니까요.
I wrote this letter before I heard the news. Actually, you wouldn't even be reading this letter if you hadn't passed.
뭐야?
The heck?
축하 행사는 접어두죠. 본 게임은 2차 대전부터니까요.
Otis does a really good Sod impression. But let's save the celebrations for later. The real game starts in round 2.
다른 후보들은 이미 2차 대전에 대한 정보를 암암리에 공유하며 작전을 구상하고 있을 게 분명한데.
Unless the letter comes with a speaker. The other candidates must have been making alliances, strategies, sharing information about the next round.
당신들은 어디에도 끼지 못한 채 고립되어 있다가 숙소로 돌아와 제 편지를 읽고 있겠죠.
Meanwhile, you guys stumbled around, aimless and alone, before returning to your lodging. And here you are now, reading my letter.
이 인간 어디서 지켜보고 있는 거 아니야?
Is she watching us from somewhere?
그래도 안심하세요. 2차전은 여러분의 한해 작전이랄 게 필요 없는.
But not to worry. For your team specifically, round 2 doesn't require much strategizing.
난전이자 연전이니까.
Because it'll be messy and continuous battle after battle.
항상 하던 대로 싸움만 하면 된답니다.
So battle on, as you always do. Huh?
당신들이 가장 자신 있는 특기 분야죠?
It's what you do best, right?
아니.
Hold on.
더 자세하게 말하고 싶어도 이 편지는 분명 다른 후보가 속한 세가나 일파가 먼저 뜯어보았을 거예요.
I would like to go into more detail in this letter, but I'm sure this letter will be, and has been, most likely, intercepted by someone from other candidates, clans, or coalitions.
여러분은 지금까지의 감과 패기로 원하는 걸 얻어내야 하는 겁니다.
So, in order for you to obtain our objective, you have to rely on what you have learned and gained so far. Your intuition and fearlessness.
다시 한번 말하지만 저희의 목표는 하나니까요.
Like I said earlier, we have but one
2등을
purpose.
하여 황금가지를 얻는다 라는 맥락인 것 같다.
Contextual clues suggest that one purpose is implied to be come in second place and obtain the golden bow.
그럼 물러가도록 하죠. 아, 마지막으로
Well, that wraps everything up. Oh, one last thing.
편지를 허락 없이 읽은 자들에게는 대대손손 저주가 내릴 것이고 가는 곳마다 불운이 생기며 하는 일마다 망하여.
Shameless curs who have rested their eyes upon the contents of this letter without authorization shall be struck down with a curse of misfortune that lasts generations upon generations. Ne'er shall they ever be successful in any endeavor regardless of nature. The bottom part of the letter's been torn off, huh? What a way to end a letter. So, does anybody know what to expect in round 2? That letter really didn't help with anything at all.
자세한 지금 현장에서 직접 들어보는 모양이 제일 정확하거든요.
It would be better to learn the exact rules on site and hear from the organizers themselves.
듣는 귀와 보는 눈은 어디에든 숨어있을 듯하니.
It is likely that there are forces who already have their eyes and ears on us. Executive Manager, there is someone by the door. Right on cue, huh?
그건 아닐 거예요.
I don't think that's what this is. Damn it, you grab your weapons, prepare for bat. Despite our rush, the person by the door was none other than Jia Ji-chun. She wore an expression that we had grown quite familiar with by now, an interesting combination of annoyance and disappointment. Why do I ever expect anything better from you anymore?
이렇게 덥석 문 열어주는 꼴을 보아하니.
So you're just opening your front door to anyone without even checking who knocked? Just like that?
근데 저희 서로 말 안 하기로 했던 거 아니었...
I thought you were done talking with.
우리가 좀 조심성이 없긴 했지.
Yeah, we can be pretty heedless from time to time.
하지만 저희를 죽이러 올 암살자분들 중에서 노크를 할까 말까 망설이고 있을 만큼 친절한 분은 없을 것 같았거든요.
But I don't think anyone's who's intending to kill us would have the decency to stand and hesitate in front of my door wondering if she should knock or not.
아까 가주대전에서
Earlier in round 1,
가모랑 원춘 언니 앞에서 일부러 죽는 모습을 내보였지.
you had yourself killed in front of Jiamu and big sister Yanchun, didn't you?
그리고 다시 살아났던 거고.
And revived yourself in front of them too, I presume. Right.
맞아.
그렇게까지 하는 이유가 뭐야?
Why even go that far, huh?
오빠는 왜 갑자기 가주가 되려는 거야, 대체?
What's gotten into you, brother? Family hierarch? Really? Why now? Why all of a sudden?
봐봐, 지금도
I can tell, just from the look on your face,
누구보다 가주 따위엔 관심 없는 듯한 얼굴을 하고 있으면서
that you couldn't care less about becoming something like the family hierarch.
정말 저들이 시켰다는 게 다인 거야?
Is that really it? That they told you to do it?
시춘, 만약에 진짜 만약에 우리의 목표가 1등이 아닐 수도 있지 않을까?
Sichin, I imagine, just for the sake of it, what if, what if our actual goal isn't to come in first place?
그걸 누가 믿어?
Do you seriously expect me to believe that?
그렇지, 나라도 안 믿겠다.
Right, totally. Heck, I wouldn't buy that either.
아무튼
Anyways,
포섭이나 협상을 하러 온 건 아니야. 그건 이제 오빠랑 죽어도 두 번 다시는 안 해.
I'm not here to ally or parley with you. I am never, ever doing anything like that with you again, brother.
곧 밤이 찾아올 거니까.
It'll be nighttime soon, you know.
달빛도 제대로 들지 않을 만큼 어두웠잖아. 오빠 방은.
And your room's always been so dark because you barely let so much as a ray of moonlight in.
곧 초대받지 않은 객들이 급습할 거다. 라는 뜻인가?
Seems like she's warning us that we'll be visited by some uninvited guests soon.
이 상황에서 제일 눈에 가시가 된 오빠를 가만 내버려 둘 리가 없지.
Yeah, there's no way they're letting you, a sudden, unforeseen variable, spend the night in peace. But didn't they warn us earlier that round 2 candidates are prohibited from hurting each other?
서로를 직접적으로 죽이는 것만 피하라는 뜻이었나?
I see. The only thing that matters is the exact wording of the law, not the spirit of it.
맞아. 우회적인 경로를 통해서는 어떤 식으로든 상관없다는 거지.
Right. They won't intervene as long as a candidate's not trying to kill a fellow candidate. Literally with their own hands.
그러니 오빠의 시종들도 믿지 마.
So don't trust anyone, even your maidservants.
직접 여기로 와줘서 고마워, 시춘.
Thanks for coming here in person, Sichun.
내일은 정말로 적으로 만나는 거야.
Tomorrow will really be enemies.
이제 와서 바뀌는 것도 없을 테지만 내일이면.
I know it's too late to change anything, but tomorrow... Jia Jichun stumbled over her words, trailed off, and then turned around and left us, as though she swallowed what she wanted to say.
사실 아가씨께서 여기로 발걸음한다고 하셨을 때 3번을 말렸습니다.
When she expressed a wish to visit you herself, I made 3 attempts to talk her out of it.
저의 위치에서 3번이나 말린 것은 가당치 않은 일이긴 합니다만.
It was highly impertinent of someone of my station to advise against her 3 times, yes, but...
그만큼 아가씨께서는 쉽지 않은 선택을 하셨다는 걸 알아주십시오.
I implore you all to know that her choice to come here was not an easy one.
실례인 질문일 수도 있지만 그쪽 상황은 좀 괜찮으신가요?
I know this question can sound a bit nosy, but are things okay over there?
최선을 다해낼 생각입니다.
We will face the trial to the best of our abilities.
부디 마주칠 일이 없길 진심으로 바라겠습니다.
I wish with all my heart that our paths will not cross tomorrow.
동감이요.
And I share his sentiment.
저들과는 서로 해를 가할 일은 없게 되길 바라고 싶구려.
I wish not to ever bring harm to them, nor they to us in turn.
뭐 그게 생각만큼 마음대로 되겠냐?
Well, when's anything ever gone as wished, eh? But Heathcliff sounded just as uneasy.
원하신다면.
What is it? Oh.
책임은 모두 내가 움직여야.
드디어 내 차례냐?
소재가 명령이라면?
I'll just change his ID real quick.
자, 망치를 쥐고.
나를 불렀나?
원하신다면.
형님과
퀘스트 확인했어요.
몸 좀 풀어볼까요?
다리에 둥글면 이지러지기 마련, 물이 차면 넘쳐나기 마련. 모든 물은 거세야 하기에 밤은 고요하다.
때가 되었네요.
It's time.
오감을 곤두세워라.
Sharpen your senses.
어이, 이 건물에 침입자가 올 수 있는 경로는 어떤 것이 있지?
Hey, what are some known infiltration routes in this building that our enemies could use?
일단 상대 쪽에서 암습을 하겠다고 마음을 먹으면 어디든 가능한 모양이더라고요.
Anywhere, really. As long as the assassin's willing to put their mind to it.
한 번은 침대 밑에서부터 나오신 적도 있었으니까요.
There was this one time when some of them suddenly appeared from under my bed.
그건 진짜
That
무섭겠네요.
sounds kinda terrifying. Ryoshu, who is leisurely puffing her cigarette as the sinners are looking around, in full alert, suddenly pointed up. Up.
천장, 무언가 내려앉는 인기척이 느껴졌다.
Ceiling. Someone just landed above us.
아, 천장에 내려앉은 거면
Ah, so they're hiding in the ceiling.
이미 이 방 밖에도 몇 명 더 포진되어 있겠네요.
There must be more waiting for us just out the door. Honglu spoke casually as though he was expecting to have them join us for tea or something.
이야, 감이 좋은데.
Impressive. You're pretty sharp. Sinners all whipped around and swung their weapons towards the voice, but the assassin dodged back with ease and began chugging from a gourd in his hand.
이 냄새.
Wait, this smells like...
설마 저 자식 이 와중에 술 처먹고 있는 거냐?
Is that Sod drinking on the job?
밤중에 일하러 나온 것도 서러운데 술까지 못 마시면 무슨 낙으로 일하겠나?
Give me a break. I'm an old guy on a night shift. I say I deserve a drink.
목표는 가복 도련님 하나다. 빨리 죽이고 돌아가지.
Our target's young Master Jia Bao. Let's kill him quick and call it a night. With that, the enemies began flooding into the room. Very loudly, might I add.
어떤 상황이 닥쳐와도 포기한... 이건 못하겠습니다. 너무 유치하잖아요.
운이 따라준다면 좋겠네요.
Right, Honglu. You're literally like the only character I don't have anything for.
여기 피아톡을 마실걸?
효율적인 대처로 개체를 꿰뚫었습니다. 참고로 기계는 입에 발린 말 따위 쉽게 하지 않아요.
불상이군. 그래도 가급적 전투 중에 떠올리지 않았으면 좋겠는데.
그래, 건드렸게 톡을 마실걸?
대만찬에 집중해.
상정웨이의 공격이었으니 이것까지 당신 탓을 할 순 없겠군요. 설마 알고 맞게 하진 않았을 테니.
점 찍었네.
개인 줄도 몰랐나. 대가리 딱 빼고
How did Ryoshi not land a single coin? I saw that.
톡을 마실걸?
지긋지긋한 전투가
Never mind.
드디어 하나 끝났네요.
점 찍었네.
40 먹지.
예사롭지가 않은데? 쌀을 내놨어! 우리 식구를 톡을 마실걸?
꿰뚫려라.
합격장.
아, 완전 과감한 판단이었어요.
중요하듯이 말하지 좀 마시라니까.
그래도 완전 좋은 판단이었던 건 사실이네요.
이 혈투를 승리로 이끌겠다.
Saved.
갑니다.
자, 테디, 나를 따라해보는 거야. 짜잔!
연장 솜씨가 현란하죠. 선물 만들고 도구 연습만 하는 것이오.
엎드리도록.
앞.
아, 개인조다면. 종원, 조명이 전멸하는 저곳으로. 파도가 모든 것을 쳐부술 거다.
괜찮은 공격이네요. 앞으로도 그렇게만 해주세요.
놈 나와!
삐뚤어졌구려.
어버이의 그 유치한 말투도 도움이 될 때가 있네요. 화가 나서 제대로 된 판단이 안 서는 모양입니다.
점 찍었네.
먹기 좋게 찾아뵙지 않아.
직원들이 우세한 환경에 있습니다.
승리로
관리자님이 제 말을 집중해서 듣고 있었다는 결과겠죠. 이런 과정들을 통틀어 신뢰라고 부른다고 하더군요. 긍정적인 변화네요.
산초류 경열 온 라샹.
I was expecting a boss.
싱겁네요. 윗대가리가 죽었으니 이제 당신들도 우리 조직 밑에서 구르게 되겠죠. 식구 취급을.
No, it's the boss. I think.
피를 머금을 시간이네.
어떤 상황이 닥쳐와도 포기하... 못하겠습니다.
나가서 싸워.
너무 유치하잖아요.
내가 봐주지.
먹지. 효율적인 대처로 개체를 꿰뚫었습니다. 참고로 기계는 입에 발린 말 따위 쉽게 하지 않아요.
우리 식구를 건드렸겠다! 목이 피었잖아! 예사롭지가 않은데? 아주 작살을 내놨어!
점 찍었네.
나가서 싸워. 뒤는 내가 봐주지.
합격장.
우리 식구를 건드렸겠다! 흙을 마시고
남은
실력을!
이제야 실력을 좀 내시네요.
Literally every single enemy gang up on Dawn.
장치에 긍정적인 알림이 들어왔어요.
그런 기계 안 들여다봐도 딱 보이네. 너희 완전 기세 등등이다.
점 찍었네.
이 식구를 건드렸겠다.
오, 뭐 땅이 무너지는 소리가 있는데.
출력 감지기가 순간적으로 과거가 걸렸네요. 괜찮으시려나요?
방금 당한 건 좀 살펴보고 가야겠는데. 내가 아무리 덮어놓고 달려드는 놈이라도 이건 좀 아니야.
고귀하게.
자, 테디, 나를 따라해 보는 거야.
이런 건 몽둥이가 약이지. 너 두드려 패. 흙을 마실걸?
상정외의 공격이었으니 이것까지 당신 탓을 할 순 없겠군요. 설마
완전히
알고 맞게 하진 않았을 테니.
직원 중 하나의 생체 반응이 사라졌습니다. 앞으로 관리자님이 겪게 될 사소한 것 중 하나에 불과하며 그들 역시 입사했을 때부터 각오하던 일이죠.
전부 쳐죽여!
연장 솜씨 현란하죠. 선물 만들고 도구 연습만 하는 거죠.
꿀을 건드렸겠다. 우와! 넌 진짜 아프겠는데. 야, 괜찮냐? 방금 당한 건 좀 살펴보고 가야겠는데. 내가 아무리 덮어놓고 달려드는 놈이라도 이건 좀 아니야.
떨거지는 잘라낸다. 시원하네. 아주 속보주는 좋은 공격이었어.
약점을 잘 찌른 것 같네요.
종원, 조명이 전멸하는 저곳으로 파도가 모든 것을 쳐부술 거다.
괜찮은 공격이네요. 앞으로도 그렇게만 해주세요.
역시 니놈 말대로 어떤 사람이라도 맞출 수 있는 마법의 탄환이로군.
모두가 너를 잊어 반드시 되찾을 거다.
하나 눕혔네. 이렇게 눕혀가다 보면 어느새 끝나는 게 싸우는 거지.
갑니다. 나가서 싸워. 뒤는 내가 이 정도로 나왔고.
그렇게 시원하게 처리하니 더는 맛이 나는군. 일 처리는 빠르게 하는 편이 덜 답답한 법이지.
다들 고생했다. 부조장한텐 내가 말해둘 테니까 뒤처리 끝나면 뜨끈하게 목욕탕에 가서 몸부터 씻자고.
파우스트가 나설 만한 곳이어야 할 겁니다.
뭐야? 아직도 안 끝났어?
Hey, what? Still working on it.
이전 사이와라는 놈도 그렇고 이자들 생각보다 우리를 허접하게 계산하는군.
It seems that we are continually underestimated by our foes. You made the same mistake.
이 정도 숫자로 우리를 전복시킬 수 있을 거로 생각했나?
You didn't seriously think that we'd be defeated by such a pathetic force, did you?
에휴, 골 아프게 소리 지르기는.
Oh, ow, pipe down. You're giving me an early hangover.
자신의 사고 뭉치하고 비교하면 마음이 좀 아프단 말이지.
And don't you compare us to the little troublemaker of the Shi family, will you?
조심하세요, 오티스. 저자는 동행한 자들과는 전투력에서 큰 차이를 보입니다.
Be careful, Otis. His combat capabilities are leagues beyond those of his companions.
혼자서 여유를 부릴 이유가 있다. 그거군.
So that's why he's so sure of himself. I see.
소속과 이름을 밝혀라.
Identify your name and allegiance.
이 바닥에서 그런 걸 읊어댈 사람이 있겠어? 별 이름도 소속도 없지.
Really? Did you really think that if you ask nicely I'd working in this line of business? You think I'd just tell you all that if you ask nicely? Working in this line of business? My brain just completely left out a whole sentence. I have no name or allegiance to give you, friend.
그렇게 오래 살아오니 멋대로 붙여진 이름은 있긴 하지.
I thought I'd have no name to give. I have a title that others took the liberty of giving me. You tend to pick up one or two of those after surviving for so long.
한 손에는 술병을 들고 나타나 야음 속으로 사라지니. 세상에서 취수 야객이라 부르더이다.
He who emerges with a liquor bottle, only to fade into the nightly shadow. The world has deigned to call him the night drifter of the drunken palm.
어떤 시간과 공간에 계시는 관리자님이 들을진 몰라도 그때를 위해서 미리 응원을 녹음해야 한다는 거군요.
I was gonna say, why is everyone talking Hangul,
이것도
but
녹음되고 있는지는
it
미처
is
몰랐네요.
very within reason for them to be talking. Yeah.
포기하게. 나가서 싸워. 뒤는
우리 식구를 건드렸겠다.
재밌네요.
자식 먹지.
단순해서 좋군 9번 수감자. 물론 좋은 성과를 갖고 돌아온다면 달고 짭짤한 걸 준비해두지.
운이 따라준다면 좋겠네요.
뒤는 내가 봐주지.
Hit your coins, please.
대만찬에 집중해.
식구를 건드렸겠다. 흙을 마실걸?
환락에 삼켜지기 전에.
더 먹어 치워라.
독이 피었잖아. 이런 건 몽둥이가 약이지. 두드려 패.
합격장.
고귀하게.
Of course.
모두가 너를 잊어도 반드시 되찾을 거다. 그간의 전투 경험이 쓸모가 없진 않았군요, 단테. 적합한 조치였습니다.
What? Okay. Drop a... Why am I having that? I had you dodging.
갑니다.
I'm convinced the game does that on purpose by almost always making you lose by 1 coin.
직원 중 하나가 큰 피해를 입었군요. 그러나 아시다시피 우리는 앞으로 나아가기만 할 뿐 돌이킬 수 없어진 것엔 눈길을 주지 않아도 된답니다.
도대체 무엇인 것이오? 똑바로 하시오!
이러다가 재료한테 잡아먹히겠소.
묻혀주기야!
엎드리도록.
방금 당한 건 좀 살펴보고 가야겠는데? 내가 아무리 덮어놓고 달려드는 놈이라도 이건 좀 아니야.
So did that do anything? Did it make the fight easier?
갑니다. 나가서 싸워. 뒤는 내가 봐주지. 무불아위.
연장 솜씨가 현란하죠. 선물 만들고 도구 연습만 하는 것이오.
네 손글을 건드렸겠다!
How did... Okay.
이젠 네 놈만 남았다.
You're next, and the last one.
주인도 지키지 못한 주지. 이상하리 마치 당당하군.
How strangely confident you are for someone who has failed to protect her master. He doesn't know that the sinners can come back from death.
뭐 보옥 도련님의 목숨을 취했으니 여기서 빠지는 편이 좋겠지. 뇌까지 확실히 뭉개두었기도 하고.
Well, now that I've claimed young Master Bayou's life, I should be free to clock out. There's no coming back from a crushed brain.
내 밑에서도 좀 배우셨으면 비슷하게는 싸워봤을 것을.
Real shame. Had he studied under my tutelage, he could have almost matched my skill. And the intruder disappeared from the room without another word. And after a brief break, I revived the dead sinners.
대체 어떤 가문에서 보낸 건지.
Just who could have possibly sent him?
아까 그 가치우라는 놈이 보낸 거 아니야? 눈빛 여전히 살벌하더만.
Could be that GX2 bloke from earlier. You saw the way he was glaring at the rich boy.
아까 홍루 씨를 보고 눈빛이 살벌했던 자들이 어디 한둘이었나요?
He wasn't the only one glaring daggers at Hong Lu, you know.
야, 괜찮냐? 혹시 정신이 획가닥한 거면 후딱 다시 시계 돌려달라 해.
Oi, you alright? If your brain's feeling funny, ask him to turn the clock again.
아니요. 조금 생소해서요.
No, it's just that this feels new to me.
원래는 여기서 습격이 있을 때마다 이 건물이 한없이 넓기만 하다고 생각했었거든요.
Whenever I was attacked in here, this building felt so infinitely vast.
그런데 여러분들이랑 있으니까 이렇게 또 북적거리는 공간도 없네요.
But now that I'm here with all you, it feels so crowded and alive.
그게 무슨 일이야?
And that's funny how?
뭐 우리가 있으니까 든든하다는 말 아니겠어?
Well, I imagine he's saying that he's happy we've got his back, to paraphrase.
다들 고생했다.
Who's the EX
부장한테
clear
내가
for that?
말해둘 테니까 뒤처리 끝나면 뜨끈하게 목욕탕에 가서 몸부터 씻자고.
At least it wasn't just survive.
도련님, 떠나기 전 여하차를 다렸는데 드시겠습니까?
Young master, I have brewed some New York tea. Will you imbibe some before departing?
안 마시겠다고 해요, 홍루 씨. 어제 편지 뜯어졌던 거 잊었어요? 아무도 믿어서는 안 된다고요.
No way. Honglu, remember how the envelope we received yesterday was torn open? Refuse it.
저는 괜찮아요. 내와줘, 스빈.
I'm okay. I'd love some tea, Jiren. Thank you.
네, 도련님.
Yes, young master. Honglu sips Jiren's tea.
그러다가 혹시나 차 안에 무슨 독이라도 있으면 아무리 단테 씨가 계신다 해도 너무 무모하잖아요.
Hey, that tea could be poisoned. I know we have Dante here, but you're being too reckless.
단테님이 계셔서 아무 생각 없이 마신 것은 아니랍니다. 그랬다면 단테님이 공연이 아플 일이 늘 테니까요.
I wasn't being reckless on account of having Dante around. If I was, and if it had really been poisoned, I would be needlessly hurting Dante in the process.
그저 스빈이 이렇게 무뚝뚝하게 되었어도 스빈은 스빈인 채니까 문제 없을 거라고 생각했어요.
Even if she's become a lot less friendly, Jiren's still Jiren, so I thought it would be okay. That's when I realized that Jiren's odd change of character was reminiscent of those we'd seen earlier in the backstreets of District 8. Jiren went through a lot of revivals, didn't she?
맞아요. 제 가장 가까운 시종이라 값비싼 생명보험에 들었었거든요.
Yes, she's my closest maidservant, so she was on the most expensive version of life insurance. So when you say Jiren's still Jiren, you mean that her memories are intact?
생명보험은 기억 자체를 건드리지는 않으니까요.
Yep, life insurance doesn't actually decay your memory.
하지만 점점
But still, you'll slowly
풍화되어 간다고 해요. 그리하여 기억은 거센 바람과 비에 깎여나가는 바위처럼 서서히 작아지고 흐려지고 마침내 형태조차 남지 않게 되죠.
You rode away, like a stone weathering merciless gusts and rainstorms. The memory shrinks and shrinks, slowly losing its definition, until the form itself is lost.
아, 한때 그러한 모양의 바위가 있었구나. 나는 느낌만 들 뿐인 거예요.
It only leaves the faint sensation that the stone was once there, until it was no more.
하지만 전 그 느낌만이라도 스빈에게 따뜻한 기억으로 남았으면 좋겠어요.
But I hope that faint sensation remains a warm remembrance to Jiren, at least. Jiren quietly cleared away the tea set. We could not tell if she had heard Honglu, or if she cared at all if she did. Regardless, we left her to her job and made our way out to the palanquin that was waiting to take us to the round 2 venue.
사활을 건 전쟁을 앞두고 있을 때 가장 먼저 해야 할 것은
When marching out to meet your foes in deadly war, normally most sinners would have laughed Otis off for being overdramatic, but today they were all listening intently to her every word. We've already had several close run-ins with the candidates and their factions, and even the formidable Haishou pack. Those experiences were more than enough to convince us that this was the time to take her seriously.
추적의 정보에 대해 알아내는 것이다.
We must first learn as much as possible about our primary foe,
우리에게 제일 위협이 될 만한 적.
the one that poses us the greatest threat, if you will.
가치요.
And that is Jiaqiu.
그자에 대해 아는 대로 정보를 말해보도록.
So let's list everything we've learned about that individual so far.
잘린 사람의 목을 들고 아무렇지 않게 경고한다거나.
Well, we know that he has no problems with blooding his own hand. Remember how he grabbed those decapitated heads?
저희와 시춘 씨 쪽을 가주대전에 아예 참가하지도 못하게 술수를 쓰려 했다거나.
And we know that he tried to ensure that both our team and Ji-chun's wouldn't participate in the family hierarch war.
자로라는 강한 흑수, 자공이라는 책략가를 두고 있는 것도 알고 있어.
We are also aware that he is flanked by Jilu, a mighty Haishou, and Zigong, a strategist.
더군다나 어제 보낸 자격도 그 사람이 보낸 것 같지 않아?
And it seemed like he was the one who sent the assassins from last night, too, right?
네, 여러모로 서로 견제를 해야 할 인물은 확실한 것 같네요.
Yeah, we know that he's definitely wary of us, so we should also stay on guard.
아시다시피 이곳 대간호는 오래전부터 존재해왔던 가씨, 사씨, 설씨, 왕씨의 네 가문들이 이끄는 곳이랍니다.
As we all know by now, Dongguan is led by 4 ancient and great houses, the Jia, the Shi, the Zhu, and the Wang.
제가 태어나기 전부터 이곳에는 수많은 권모술수와 비명 행사가 오갔고 지금은 가시가가 4대 가문 중 제일 큰 영향력을 차지하고 있죠.
Ever since times before my own birth, this place was a den of political intrigue, a jungle where a single misstep could spell your death. Today, the Jia family holds the most power and influence among the 4.
그 덕에 저는 조금 더 부유하고 편안하게 모두가 부러워하고 우러러보는 삶을 살 수 있었던 거고요.
which means that I was at the top of the world, afforded a life of luxuries and leisure, the kind of envious life that everyone looks up to and aspires to attain.
그리고 치우 형님은
But Big Brother Chi,
그 바닥 아래에 있었어요.
he was beneath even the rock bottom of the same world.
바닥? 무언가의 비유요?
Rock bottom? A metaphor for perhaps?
비유가 아니라면 바닥 아래에 있었다는 것은 누가 떠밀었다는 소리처럼 들리는군.
If it isn't, then I presume he's implying that someone pushed GRQ to the depths.
네, 많은 손들이 벼랑 끝으로 밀어냈으니까요.
Yes.
그러다가 결국엔 발 디딜 공간 하나 없어지게 되어 형님에게 남은 건 낙하뿐이었죠.
Yes, many hands pushed him toward the cliff, until there was no more room for him to back up to, until the only remaining choice was to plummet.
치우 형님은 멸문한 공씨 가문의 마지막 남은 후손이에요.
Brother Chu is the last surviving descendant of the annihilated Kong family.
분명 성이 가시 아니었는가?
Yet his surname was Jia, was it not?
어머니 쪽이 공가의 분이셨거든요.
His mother was from the Kong family.
그런...
how?
아마도 그 사람을 밀어낸 손 중에는 제 것도 있었을 거예요.
My hand was probably one of the many that pushed him off the cliff.
저는 홍루 씨가 그럴 만한 분으로는 보이지 않는데요.
I don't think you're the kind of person to do something like that, Honglu.
애써 덮어주시지 않아도 괜찮아요.
No need to make excuses for me.
할머니와 어르신들의 어여쁨이 있었기에 형제 자매들의 시기 질투가 따라온 것이고
Envy and jealousy came about from my grandmother and the elders' favoritism.
까마득히 높은 건물이 있었기에 그 바닥 또한 생기는 것이 당연지사.
And where there is a zenith, so exists a nadir.
숨어들어도 벗어날 수는 없으니 받아들일 생각이랍니다.
Hiding won't let me get away from it, so I'm going to accept it. Honglu remained placid throughout the entire reveal, as though he was making some innocent commentary about the weather and the clouds going by. In fact,
엄지와 붙어먹은 것, 그것들도 경계해라.
watch out for the ones working for the thumb, too. It was Ryoshu who appeared more agitated than he was.
엄지? 아, 그때 그 떡대요?
The thumb? Oh, that walking brick shithouse from earlier?
내횡.
Leiheng.
유독 경계하네, 류슈. 원래라면...
You're weirdly worried. Ryoshu, don't you usually just...
강하니까.
It's because he's powerful. Silence descended in the Pelican. We even turned off the radio.
류슈가 누구 보고 순순히 강하다고 한 거 들어본 사람?
Has Ryoshu ever called anyone straight up powerful before? No one replied. There's the chair.
(2차) 심사장소의 입구에 당도하였습니다.
We have arrived at the venue of the second round of the evaluation. We found ourselves at some kind of deep subterranean area with multiple lifts installed inside it. This looks like something out of Squid Games. Some contestants were already rising on those lifts, but most of them had elected to remain down here to quietly and furtively discuss their strategies. As for us, we were slowly getting used to our presence drawing the attention of every single person in the room the moment we entered.
참가자분들은 각자 승강기를 탄 후 위로 올라와 주시면 됩니다.
Contestants must now each board their lifts and descend.
그럼 저희도 탑승할까요?
Well, then should we get going too?
너무 눈에 띄는 것 같은 느낌이라 얼른.
I feel like we're drawing way too much attention, so let's But we were stopped by a voice calling us.
오라버니,
Why does she looks like like the colors make her look like a different drawing? I don't know. Big brother Bayo.
대요.
Dayo.
그간 안녕하셨나요?
Have you been well? I'd seen a child who looked just like her a few times in Honglu's memory. I remember her beaming at Honglu as she made a mound of petals with one hand. But now she looked on at him without a discernible emotion. A spear in the very same hand.
대요. 네가 가주대전에 참여하게 될 줄은 몰랐네.
Dayu, I didn't think you'd be participating in the family hierarch war.
잊으셨나요, 오라버니? 예나 지금이나 저희 집안은 누군가의 밑에 있어야만 건사할 처지였어요.
Have you forgotten that my family cannot exist unless we are in service of the greater houses?
지금은 설씨 세가에서 칼을 쥐고 있을 뿐입니다.
I am but a blade serving a clan from the Zhu family.
그렇구나. 보처 누나 내에서.
I see. For big sister Bao Chai's family?
네. 그러니 앞으로도 남은 날 동안은 다른 사람을 위해 싸우다 죽게 되겠죠.
Yes, I will be fighting in service of others to the last of my days.
대요.
Dayu. Honglu's took a step toward her, but she raised her hand and pushed him away. It was not a threat, but her gesture carried such implicit resoluteness that it brought Honglu to a stop.
대요. 나는 곧 대관원을 떠날 거야. 어르신들께서 세상에 나가 좀 더 많은 걸 경험하고 오라 하셨거든.
Dayu, I'll be departing to Dagyeon soon. The elders have commanded me to leave here and experience more of the world.
떠난다고요? 대관원을?
You're leaving Dagyeon?
결국 제게는 그날의 어떤 답도 해주시지 않은 채로 이렇게 떠나시는군요.
So you leave me now, still refusing to illuminate me the truths about that day.
왜?
Why?
왜 계속 그렇게 웃고만 계시는 건가요?
Why won't you stop smiling like that?
부디 다시 돌아오지 않기를 바라겠습니다.
Then I hope you'll never come back here again.
한때는 정답게 지내는 인연이었지만 모든 건 공연한 일.
We shared an intimate bond once, yet all is for naught.
지금은 하늘에도 땅에도 얽매임이 없고
Now I am unbound by the heavens, unbound by the dirt.
이 마음엔 기쁨도 슬픔도 남아있지 않아요.
Still lies this heart of mine, with emptiness raw.
꽃이 필 때는 그것이 사랑스럽지만 시들어지게 되면 슬픔만 더하게 되니.
A blossom may be lovely now, but its wilting sharpens the blade of woe. The blade of hurt.
차라리 처음부터 만나지 않는 편이 좋았을 터.
Our meeting never should have come to pass.
너는 언제나 듣기에 어렵고 슬픈 말을 하는구나.
You always say things are so difficult and saddening to hear.
제 장례는 일찌감치 치렀고 뒤늦게 오라버니께 인사라도 드렸으니.
My own funeral was held long ago, and now, having met you for the final time,
부디 이곳에서 서로 죽을 때는
when we meet our ends here,
형체도 남지 않게 되는 한 줄기 연기가 되어 바람에 흩날리게 되길 바랄게요.
may we each become a lone thread of formless smoke to be scattered to the winds. With that, Dayu walked away from us.
아, 여러분들께는 소개를 미처 못해드렸네요.
It looks like I forgot to introduce her to everyone.
어렸을 때 잠시나마 인연을 맺었던 아이랍니다. 지금은 보다시피 좋지 않은 상황에서 제외하게 되었지만요.
She's someone with whom I had a brief connection in my childhood, though I guess our reunion was made under pretty unfavorable circumstances.
누군가의 호의로 이곳에 왔다 함은
That she has come here in service of another candidate means that we'll be enemies the next time we meet. His song trailed off without vocalizing that sentiment and sighed.
인연이란 건 이토록 제멋대로 달라지는 것이니까요.
Connections are such fickle things, after all. Honglu muttered with a faint hint of loneliness as we entered the grand lift enclosed by 4 pillars. The lift rises ploddingly. When I looked down, I could see the other candidates still waiting for their lifts, looking up at us. The candidates whose fates may or may not intermingle with our own in this battle. Jiabiao!
너는 결코 이곳에서 살아나갈 수 없다.
You will never leave this place alive.
우리는 사활을 걸고 내 놈의 목을 칠 거야.
No matter what it takes, we will cut off your head. No matter what it takes. Someone screams bitterly from beneath us, but the lift does not stop.
홍루군,
Young Honglu,
우리가 앞으로 만나게 될 자들은 전부 악인인 건가?
are we not to be battle villains henceforth in this quest?
저들에게는 저희가 악인인 것이겠죠?
But to them, we are the villains.
그렇다면 저희에게도 저들은 악인 것일까요? 의미 없는 분별이네요.
Then are they to be evil in our eyes? It's a distinction without a difference.
분명한 건 앞으로 만날 자들 중에서는
Well, whatever is the case, I'm pretty sure that
적과 아군을 구분하는 것만큼 의미 없는 짓은 없을 거예요.
trying to draw a clear line between enemies and allies won't mean much. It seemed that we finally arrived at our destination as the lift slowed down. We were greeted by a sight that at first glance appeared to be as though it belonged outside, but we were still clearly within the confines of Hongyuan. There's the chair again. Underneath the blue sky were 2 metal gates leading into a massive looming structure. Red lights flickered ominously around the building.
이 넓은 공간을 건물 바깥처럼 꾸미려면 도대체 돈을 얼마나 쏟아부었으려나요?
Looks like they decorated this place Looks like they decorated this huge space to look like outside. I can't even fathom how much money they must have poured into this project.
가주 심사 2차전.
Family hierarchy evaluations round 2. A disembodied voice echoed from the speakers with a buzz.
시작.
Begins now. The door to the lift carried us up here. It's closed shut.
이곳이 어디인지
Oh,
이제 알겠네요.
I finally recognize where we are.
와본 적 있는 곳이야?
You've been here before?
여기는
This place is...
옛날에 공씨 가문이 운영하던 구 H사의 터랍니다.
the site of the former H-Corp that was once headed by the Kong family.
아직 그때의 상처가 채 아물지 않은 곳일 텐데 이제 새로운 피가 또 덮어지려나요?
This place still bleeds from the wounds made then. I wonder if we will be spilling fresh blood over them today. We are surrounded by the loud and crowded bustle of the teeming audience. Is Hung Lu smiling still, as he always has since our first meeting? I turn around and face him. Yes, he is. Only to see a much younger Hung Lu. The deep sorrow in the child's eyes was about to overflow, as if he were ready to burst into tears. It took 2 hours to get here. Well, I guess I'll call it right there. Have to wait for the next part of Canto 8 to release. I know nothing about the book that Honglu is based on, and we'll know nothing coming up in the rest of the Canto, so...